This video is going to give you 10 tips to improve inside Marvel Rivals. Now this is general tips, but let's get straight into it. So the first tip you want to do is practice your aim. Now the best way to do this is actually going into the practice mode, and then what you want to do is adjust your settings as well. Now there's tons of settings videos out there. I've put mine out as well, and I like to use the kind of S-curve when it comes to the response aim type. So if you like that, and it's very kind of based off of first-person shooters, because I've come from Call of Duty, and that's why I prefer it that way. But some people like the linear one, which is the default, and then others like to use the exponential curve as well. So it's just going to come down to personal preference on that one. But the main thing what you want to do is come in and actually practice shooting against these bots here. Is very important. So you might want to choose a character like Punisher or Rocket or someone that's got an actual gun, because it will make it a little bit easier so you know where your shots are landing. But I think it's good to practice with the characters that you like as well, because it gives you a feel for how their abilities actually work, and most of them do have long range attacks. When it comes to like the kind of melee characters like Black Panther and Wolverine, you might not need to worry about this too much, because you're going to be pretty much close range 90% of the time. The next tip is to do with chronovision. Now first of all, chronovision, if you hold right on your analog stick, highlights things in yellow. Now what this actually means is that these objects are destructible. So this whole building right here, you can actually destroy. So that is the really cool thing. So as you can see here, I'm able to actually break this whole building, and it will fall down as well if you keep going. But as you can see, that is the difference between hardcover and not so hardcover in this game. So make sure you are using the chronovision, because certain characters can destroy this within a couple of shots, especially if you're using ultimate abilities and things like that as well. On the topic of cover as well here, you do want to make sure you are using your hard cover. So once you've established something as hard cover, like this wall here, for example, then you can use that against enemy players. And especially if you're using one of the duelist characters which don't have any shield abilities and things like that, for example, you do want to make sure you're using the cover, peeking out, taking shots, peeking back in. You don't want to fully rely on your teammates, your support characters to provide you with shields. For example, Magneto has a shield, obviously, that can protect teammates. If you're Iron Man, for example, you can actually use this bridge as cover as well. So as you can see here, this is hard cover that can't be destroyed. So you want to use this bridge as cover whilst you're in the air. So that is something you can use as well, similar to the example I was shown on the ground with Magneto. The next step is picking the correct heroes. Now, in this game in particular, I actually wanted to pick to go Winter Soldier, but I ended up picking a support character instead because of the team composition. Everyone was picking duelists. And you don't have to make a team like that. You need to be able to be adaptable and change what kind of character you're picking. We ended up doing really well in this game, and that is because I picked a support character. And again, this goes for mid-game as well. So this is another tip. If you're mid-game and you've picked, let's say, for example, Doctor Strange, which I've done in this game, and I was getting absolutely hammered, man. And then I switched to Magneto, and Magneto helped me a ton in this game. Now, Magneto's already a pretty powerful character anyway, so I probably should have picked him to begin with. But I really wanted to try out Doctor Strange, but I realized it wasn't working. And then you can even switch to another support character, or even another duelist, or one of the more medic style players as well. So just definitely keep that in mind when you are playing. You can switch your characters after each death. The next tip is to pick about 3 of your favorite characters or heroes. And once you've done that, go in and actually read their abilities in game. It pretty much tells you exactly what each of their abilities do. And that is really important to understand how to use each of these characters. Like I said, once you've picked your few favorite characters, then you can obviously understand how to use them as best as possible. And this leads me on into my next tip. So the next tip is not just to when use your ultimate ability, which is also really important. So don't spam it, but also don't not use it as well. You want to make sure you're using it at the correct time, and I'll show a clip of me using it there as well. But also all of your abilities, if they are there to support the team, especially if you're not playing a duelist, then you want to make sure you are supporting your team as best as possible and using your abilities to help the team in general and not just yourself. So you can use Magneto's shield, of course, to save yourself if you need to, but also try and use it when you're also going to shield some teammates. And the same goes for Doctor Strange, and the same goes for any of the other support style characters there as well. Another easy tip is to learn the maps. Now, obviously you'll do this over time anyway, once you get used to them. Obviously we're bringing out new maps as and when the game progresses with each season as well. But like I said, you want to learn the maps pretty well so you know where the hardcover and all those kind of things are, where you can run to and escape to if you are taking damage, all these sorts of things. is very important when you're learning the maps. And the last tip I can give you right now is to use your melee attack. Now, the melee attacks are not going to deal an absolute ton of damage, but if you want to get a quick finish, especially if you've ran out of your abilities and you're sitting there trying to reload, then use your melee, go close range, use the melee, get that quick finish. But remember, you will need to escape. So if you're using players with low health, then please understand that you may die doing this, but you do have that ability to use the melee there as well. And every single character in this game has a melee attack, regardless of which character it is you're using. So those are my top 10 general tips for this game. Now, of course, every character can use these tips that I've mentioned, but we are going to go over character-specific tips as well in a future video where we need to go through the settings of all 33 characters and show you what the best character-specific settings are. So please subscribe for that, and thank you very much for watching.